Hi there, Stan the Annuity Man here on a beautiful Saturday morning in an undisclosed location, the Bat Cave, the Annuity Bat Cave. Welcome to the Annuity Man Live. So welcome to everybody in all 50 states. Appreciate you joining me for this topic, which is a good one. What do you need your annuity to do? That's assuming that you need an annuity. We're going to cover that. But let me show you a couple of new things on the website. If you go to theannuityman.com, a couple things. Number one, we have, we do a few videos, as you well know. We have a YouTube channel called Stan the Annuity Man. And on the site, if you scroll down, producer, you'll see, the top annuity videos. Those are the ones that are done in studio. And then the Shooting It Straight with Stan ones are new. And those are me ranting factually and brutally about current topics and how they apply to you and annuities, etc. So, this one's fun. I do it from my home studio, but that's new. The other thing that's new is I was recently contacted by Barron's, and we did help them write an article and talk about MAGAs. That's on the first page there if you want to click that and read about that. Barron's is a pretty good publication, been around for a while. And then the last thing I want to show you, very, very proud of this. We are the only ones in the country currently that have this because we are the only ones crazy enough to spend all this money to do it, which is an income rider calculator. We also have SPIAD and QLAC and a live MAGA feed, but you can quote income riders, quoting all carriers for the highest contractual guarantee. You can do a lump sum or reverse engineer quote. Very proud of this. Took a lot of time, effort, convincing, cajoling, dinners out, all that stuff to get that done. But if you're looking for income later in the future, obviously these are attached to indexed annuities. We don't care about that. We look at the indexed annuities as a simple delivery system for that income rider guarantee. So let's get to the topic quickly. And then I'm going to start answering questions. So get them ready to go. What do you need an annuity to do? Let's just talk about whether you need an annuity. I have two very simple ways to figure that out. The first is an acronym called PIL. P stands for principal protection. I stands for income for life. L stands for legacy. And the other L stands for long-term care confinement care. So principal protection, income for life, legacy, and long-term care confinement care. If you don't need to contractually solve for one of those four items in the PIL, then you do not need an annuity. Notice there's no G for growth. So if you need market growth, never, ever, ever, ever buy an annuity. I don't care what anybody shows you at the Bad Chicken Dinner Seminar, which, oh, by the way, I guess you can consider this the Annuity Man's version of a seminar, no food. Instead, I'm feeding you brutal facts, which is what you need to be swallowing anyway. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I have two very simplistic questions that you need to ask and answer. Number one, what do you want the money to contractually do? And number two, when do you want those contractual guarantees to start? Keyword contractual. Annuities are contracts. You don't buy annuities for hypotheticals, theoreticals, projected, back-tested, unicorns chasing the butterfly. Nonsense. You don't buy them for an upfront bonus. Don't be that stupid person. That's candy for the stupid. I know that's right now in the index annuity world, you're getting calls and emails. Well, you need to take advantage of this because it has a 25 or 35% upfront bonus. Please tell me you're not that stupid. Please tell me you're not that gullible. For example, in our income rider quotes, when we quote income riders, we're quoting all carriers with and without a bonus. We don't care. It's just part of the overall contractual guarantee. But repeat after me, there's 100 pennies in the dollar, period. There's no philanthropists at annuity companies that wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I'm going to give some money away. I think 25 or 35% bonus is going to be great. What do you think, board of directors? Come on. You're smarter than that. Now, one of the things that we like about the Annuity Man Live is a lot of people are proactive box checkers. They email me questions beforehand. So a couple questions. I believe the guy's name is Don sent to me. Producer, can you put that up? So let's start here, and then we'll jump in and do questions after that. So put them in, and producer will pop them up, and I'll read them off, and then I'll answer them factually and brutally as only I can do. Are the death benefit proceeds received from a fixed index annuity with a death benefit rider tax-free? No. Okay. And I know what you're saying. Stan, wait a minute. Life insurance companies issue annuities. Good point. They do. In life insurance, that product passes tax-free and probate-free to the beneficiaries. Correct. But life insurance that issue annuities, those annuity death benefits are not tax-free, period. So there are some index annuities that have income riders that can also not only you can use for lifetime income, or you can use them as a death benefit, but that death benefit amount is going to be taxable to your listed beneficiaries of the policy. Just remember this: life insurance death benefits, tax-free; annuity death benefits, taxable. It's that simple. Next question. Will a SPIA, single premium immediate annuity, DIA, deferred income annuity, or FIA, fixed index annuity, allow me to add funds? With SPIAs and DIAs, companies will allow you to add funds within that 30-day time period before the policy is issued. Once the policy is issued, with SPIAs, you cannot add. With some DIAs, you can add up to about, I believe, 13 months before the income starts. Most DIAs will allow you to do that. And then indexed annuities, you can add money to most policies. So go through that again. Immediate annuities, the most rigid of those three, adding money. Let's just say, for example, you bought an indexed annuity and the policy has not been issued yet, and you wanted to add some money before the policy was issued, you can do that. Once the policy is issued, no. With deferred income annuities, yes, you can add it within that 30-day time period, but after the policy is issued, most, I never say all, but most deferred income annuity carriers will allow you to add money up to a specific point before the income stream starts. Typically, that's 12 months, 13 months before the income starts. Some of them have different rules, but you can add. And the question with that is, should you add it to the policy that you currently have, or should you quote for another deferred income annuity? And that's what we'll do. Remember, our goal here is to provide you the highest contractual guarantee, period, shopping all carriers. So if you have a deferred income annuity and you say, I bought it 2 years ago, Stan the Annuity Man, and the plan is to turn on income in 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, and I want to add some money, what's the best way to go about it? A lot of it depends on the amount of money that you want to put in. There's some minimums involved. But if it's a significant amount, we might quote all carriers to see who has the highest contractual guarantee. And if it's better to add to the current policy or buy a separate policy, that's the kind of analysis that we provide. And you would want that. You don't want me just to carte blanchely say, well, yeah, just add it to. No, we're going to start the process over, make sure you're getting the highest contractual guarantee with your deferred income annuity. And indexed annuities, most of those allow you to add money to the policy. If you have an income rider, same type of situation applies from the standpoint of allowing you to add money up to the point of turning on income. And each carrier will have specific rules on when you cannot add money, those type of things. But once again, when you're adding money to a policy like an indexed annuity, and you get me or one of my really smart people that work with me on the phone, we're going to ask you, now, why are you doing this again? What's the goal? What are you trying to do? Again, 2 questions. What do you want the money to contractually do? And when do you want those contractual guarantees to start? And we might take it separately and say, okay, let's do another policy, or does it make sense to add to that indexed annuity policy, whether it has an income rider or whether it doesn't have an income rider? So very good questions, but we take each situation separately and we're going to ask why. We're just not going to say, oh, yeah, sure. And then we're going to make sure that we're going to attach that new money to either the policy that you have, if it provides the best deal for you, or another policy, because we represent pretty much all carriers. Next question. Roy Hobbs. Roy Hobbs, wait a minute. What's that baseball movie, Roy Hobbs? Was a baseball player? I don't know. Anyway, what, if any, use would there be for a fixed index annuity without an income rider attached? Would that be a good option if you need a specific monthly payout, but for only 7 to 10 years with no annual fees? That's a really good question, Roy Hobbs, baseball player. Indexed annuities do not have to have an income rider attached. If you don't want to have income in the future, you don't have to attach an income rider. And if you don't attach an income rider, indexed annuities there's no annual fees. So why would you do that, Stan the Annuity Man? Now remember, indexed annuities are not market growth products. They're not securities. You're going to get 2 to 4% return on average since 1995. That's been the historical return. Not kind of, it has been. So there's not too good to be true product, market upside with no downside, even I know that if that's the sales pitch. But let's just say you need income in the future, but you just do not want to pay fees. Because once you attach an income rider to an indexed annuity, you're going to pay an annual fee that's going to be deducted from that accumulation value for the life of the policy. Hello. Which is why the annuity companies have the big buildings, right? Because you're paying it forever. That doesn't make an income riders bad, because if you're attaching an income rider, draw a line down a blank sheet of paper, left-hand side's accumulation value, right-hand side's the income value. The fee is coming out of the accumulation value, not the income rider value. So that's a net transaction to you, and you are paying for that future income stream transfer of risk. But a lot of people say, wait a minute, what if I don't want to pay that fee? Then what I do, I have a strategy called defer to SPIA, which means that you can buy a MAGA, multi-year guarantee annuity. That's the annuity version of a CD, or an index annuity. Both of those are fixed annuities. And then at the time you need income at the end of that maturity date, we can transfer, whether it's IRA or non-IRA, non-taxable event, to the highest contractual guarantee paying SPIA, single premium immediate annuity, for your lifetime income needs. If you say, Stan, I want a lifetime income, I never want to pay a fee ever, annual fees, I want it to be the most simplistic way, that's it, defer to SPIA. Now, I think one part of the question was you wanted to pay for 7 or 10 years. Then instead of the single premium immediate annuity being a lifetime income guarantee, we could set it up for a period certain, meaning that it would just pay for a 10-year time period to fill in a specific gap. Once again, remember, immediate annuity type payouts are customizable. There's over 40 different ways to structure it. And remember this, when you die, money doesn't have to go poof. You can set it up to where it's a lifetime income stream, transfer of risk to the carrier. And when you die, 100% of any unused money goes to the listed beneficiaries of the policy, and the evil annuity company doesn't keep a penny. I know that type of thought permeates the annuity space. Well, I'll never buy an annuity because when you die, money goes poof. No. That's called life only. If you want to do that and you don't like your beneficiaries or you want the highest payout, fine. But you don't have to do that. You've worked hard for your money. You can set it up lifetime income. It's going to pay as long as you're breathing, or joint lifetime income as long as one of you is breathing. But you can set it up, like, say, with a cash refund or installment refund, so that 100% of any unused money goes to the beneficiaries, even though the annuity company's on the hook to pay. So just put it in the back of your mind, defer to SPIA might not be a bad strategy for you. Next question. It's from Pete. Regarding the Fed's likeliness to increase interest rates rapidly, let's hope, in the next several quarters, let's hope, how long a duration of MAGA makes sense? Pete, good question. And it's customized to every situation. What I would tell you, carte blanche, 30,000 foot view, is the longest that I will want you or allow you to go is 5 years. Okay. But if you said, Stan, should I buy a 5-year MAGA or a 3-year MAGA? 3-year MAGA. Stan, should I buy a 3-year MAGA or 2-year MAGA? 2-year MAGA. In other words, shorten the durations. I think a 3-year multi-year guarantee annuity right now, at the time of this taping, please, if you're watching in the future, look at the date. 3-year multi-year guarantee annuities can get you 3% or a little bit more than 3% contractually for those 3 years. Not a bad deal. And I don't think you're going to get hurt at all locking in a 3-year duration right here. But if you want to ladder it, I had a call the other day, and this was the topic. This is the topic, by the way. Everyone's like, what do we do? Do we time it? No good answers, just bad sales pitches, as you know. And the person had $400,000. What we did is we did a $100,000 tranche in four tranches, 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, and 5-year, so that they have money coming due starting in year 2. And hopefully we can attach it and transfer it to a higher yielding MAGA. But if you said, Stan, I'm putting a gun to your head, I need you to tell me one duration that you feel comfortable with our friend, what's his name, Chairman Powell in the Fed, I would say 3-year duration. Next question. This is from Mark. How could you structure a set of annuities to mimic the Tom Hegna's go, slow go, and no-go concept for paycheck? And what he's referring to, I love this. And this is an easy way to talk about retirement. When you're in retirement, you retire, you're go. I mean, you're hitting on all cylinders, you're firing away, you're traveling, you're doing your thing, and then you slow go, and we all know slow go is going to happen. and then no go. And I want to point out, kind of being brutal here, we're all going to have that diminished cognitive issues going forward. One of the things about setting up lifetime income streams, whether it's for you and your spouse, joint life, is it kind of takes care of that and makes it turnkey. And I'm not being the grim reaper here, but I think for all of you A personalities out there like myself, there will come a time that we're not killing it, that we're not going 100 miles an hour. I think annuities do play a good role. So in a go, slow go, and no go to me is if you can manage the assets and you need market growth, then don't buy an annuity. Slow go is you start peppering in contractual guarantees and building in that income floor. And what I would tell you to do is, add that up, with Social Security, pension, dividend stocks, side hustle, rental income, whatever. And then what's that gap that needs to be filled? I think under slow go, you need to make sure that 100% of your income floor, is what I call it, is taken care of contractually in some form or fashion. And then no go is when you're really just, you're not going 100 miles an hour and you're slowing down and it, and you're planning for some legacy. You're putting everything together from a turnkey standpoint, whether it's lifetime income or principal protection. And I think on the no-go, it would be a combination of single premium immediate annuities, QLACs, if you want to set something up with you and your spouse, and peppering some MIGAs, fixed rate annuities on the no-go side, CD type annuities. Just remember that the annuity industry frowns upon, and I certainly frown upon, you putting on any more than 50 and maybe up to 60, you'd have to tell me why, of your investable assets in annuities. So you can't go all in. You shouldn't go all in. No one should let you go all in. I will not do that. Unfortunately, there are some agents that mess with the application so that it looks good and it goes through. But the annuity industry does not want all of your money in annuities. You shouldn't have that. You should have some money in the growth portion, which means no annuities, okay, regardless of what people are showing you, buffered annuities or index annuities or variable annuities, and they show you all these back tested numbers. Please be smarter than that, please. Next question. David, can you give a summary of what's going on in the MIGA rates? Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting. And that's a good question. In my newsletter, if you're on my newsletter list, it came out today, and we talked about the yield curve, the inverted yield curve, which for people that don't know what that is, we had that moment in time where the 2-year Treasury was yielding more than the 10-year Treasury, which is kind of a precursor for a potential recession, but it's a weird time. But what happened is it actually created an opportunity in the MIGA space, the multi-year guarantee annuity. If you don't know what that is, you can go to my site, you see the live feed and get my book on it. There's videos on multi-year guarantee annuities, but multi-year guarantee annuities is the annuity industry's version of a CD. Works the same way, except the interest in a non-IRA account grows tax deferred. But what has happened is what I call an annuity yield opportunity. We saw some of the big boy carriers, the A++ carriers, that are typically never at the top of the MIGA feed. They're now at the top. They're coming in and wanting to dominate and suck the air out of the room. And I'm saying to people, hey, if there's an A- rated carrier just 10 basis points above, and there's an A++ carrier right below them, no brainer, pound the table, buy the A double+ carrier. So go to my site at theannuityman.com, MIGA feeds, and you can pull up your state, pull up the duration. But right now, those A double+ carriers, for some reason, when this yield curve inverted, they just said, okay, we're coming in, we're getting ready to dominate. In the 3-year and the 5-year space, they are dominant. And this isn't a sales pitch, because there's no good answers, just bad sales pitches, but it is a moment in time, and it will not last forever. Whatever amount of money bogey that they have in their plan to do this, because remember, these are commodity type quotes. It's like buying a plane ticket. So you have to always check my site to see that live feed. Boy, this is a neat time to buy A double+ paper and lock in contractual guarantees with no annual fees. And just, it's fantastic. And we've been going 100 miles an hour to get those applications in and lock that stuff up with these A double+ carriers. And people always say, well, what happens when those companies go out of business? They're not. Okay. I know what you're saying. Nobody's too big to fail. Yes, they are. And if these A double+ companies that the names, I'm not going to give it out because they get enough publicity. You can go to my site and look for yourself. If they're going out of business, me and you are in your local grocery store, and I see you pick up the bunny loaf white bread, and I punch you in the throat for it. There's anarchy. We're fighting over food if these people, if these companies go out of business that are A double plus. I mean, that's just reality, and that's the reason I'm kind of pounding the table for you at least to look at it. Now, again, everyone's going to say, "Well, is this the right time? Should we wait? Should we?" I don't know that answer. Nobody does. But I don't think these A double plus companies will be at the top for long. Next question. Ted, I was wondering if you quote all carriers that have a Comdex ranking score of 95 or above. If the answer is no, which carriers don't you quote? Why don't you quote them? Good question. TIAA is the one that comes to my mind that we don't quote just because that's teachers, right? Government employees, that type of thing. We don't quote that because they don't allow standing annuity men for whatever reason to quote those. That's the one that comes to mind. The other one that comes to mind is another great company, USAA Military. So that's their lane. Love them. They typically aren't that competitive. And then I think the third one that comes to mind is Northwestern Mutual Life, which is a captive agency. But if you're interested in Northwestern Mutual Life, I have a personal friend. There's no under the table agreements with me. I cannot legally share in any type of commission, and I don't. But I trust him because he's been doing it for 35 years with Northwestern Mutual, and I can get you to him if you want to see their quotes. And remember, Northwestern Mutual, in my opinion, is a very good life insurance company. They're not typically as competitive in the annuity space, but those are the three. Ted, those are the three carriers that come to mind. I'd have to look at that list to give you more, but I think those are the top three, and all three of those companies, TIAA, used to be called TIAA-CREF, TIAA, USAA, okay, and then Northwestern Mutual, fantastic companies, just great. I would love to be able to represent them, but I understand why they don't want to do that, because if I did that and I represented then their captive agents that's been with them forever would be out of business. So, next question. Glenn, thanks, Glenn. Does purchasing a MIGA with you within my existing Fidelity IRA involve rolling such funds outside to another brokerage, for example? Great question. So let's take that example that Glenn has a Fidelity IRA, Vanguard IRA, TD Ameritrade IRA, Schwab IRA, whatever. And money's in there, and he says, you know what? I want to buy XYZ carrier, A double plus, and I want to lock in that 3-year and 5-year guarantee you're talking about. The money will have to transfer out of Fidelity to the annuity company. Non-taxable event, does not trigger any taxes, and my team will take care of that from start to finish paperwork wise. You don't have to get in the weeds that we do that, but then the money is going to be held at the annuity company, okay? During that duration, there's an IRA established for you at XYZ annuity carrier. But understand, at the end of the duration, we're going to be in touch with you about 90 days before it matures, and we're going to say, hey, Glenn, what do you want to do? You want us to roll it to another MIGA? Or you might say, no, I want it to be transferred back to my Fidelity IRA. Certainly can do that. And then Fidelity would be the one to request that non-taxable event transfer from the annuity carrier back to Fidelity. So you're not going to be able to put it in your Fidelity account. And by the way, Fidelity, great company. They do some annuity work, but they only represent less than 10 carriers. We represent those two and the rest of them. So they're really not in the annuity business. Vanguard completely got out of the annuity business for some reason. Don't understand that one. So these big firms are great, obviously, for mutual funds, ETFs. That's kind of what the business they're in. Fidelity does play around a little bit in the annuity world, but they're typically not competitive. But you can quote them for that, and they're not competitive at all right now in the multi-year guarantee annuity space. So I hope that answered the question. Next question. Vern, appreciate information on taxability of annuity. If qualified charity is beneficiary, is the annuity gain taxable to the estate? All annuity gains are taxable to the estate. I'm going to say carte blanche, and this isn't me opting out of the question, but it's illegal for me to give tax advice. I am not a CPA. I'm not a tax lawyer, and you should never, ever, ever get any tax advice from anyone other than a CPA and a tax lawyer. But just remember, when you're taking money out of annuities, From an income standpoint or withdrawal standpoint, it's last in, first out, gains first at ordinary income levels. From an estate planning standpoint, when the charity is the beneficiary, um, everything is going to be taxable, but you need to work with your CPA and tax lawyer to, everybody's situation is different, but you're not going to be able to beat the IRS, I guess, at the end of the day. So next question.
Okay, we're coming up on our last question. If anybody out there has any questions, please type them in the comments. Otherwise, this is our last question from our YouTube fan, Kenneth Humph. Here it comes.
And by the way, people are saying, hey, Stan, what's with the pseudo beard and the long hair? Midlife crisis, man. Midlife crisis, 34 years of marriage. This is what happens. You know that. Nod your head. What's with the glasses, Stan? My contacts aren't working. My eyes are drying out. I mean, I'm getting old, okay? Kidding. Kenneth, zero is my hero. I hate that term, Kenneth. I think I just threw up in my mouth. I literally hate that term because that's index annuity garbage. That's the sociopath, grifter, square peg into a round hole salespeople that say that with indexed annuities. I just vented. I got to read the rest. If I have a FIA with an income rider, if I was to have a year where there was zero accumulation, would the rider fees come? Yes. Let's talk about that. So the question is, if I have an income rider attached to an index annuity, and remember that the income rider, fees are coming out of the accumulation value every single year. Now, indexed annuities are fixed annuities. The contractual guarantee of an index annuity is that you're not going to lose money. It's going to be a zero. But if you get a zero that year, and by the way, if you own an index annuity, there'll be a couple years that you'll get zero historically, then it's going to decrease by that amount. Look at it another way. If the Bad Chicken Dinner Seminar sales pitch says 5% return, or if you'd have owned it 10 years ago, Mr. Jones, you'd have made 6%, which is garbage. You're starting every year minus one or whatever that the income rider fee is. So let's just say it's 1.5 or 1. You're starting every single year minus that amount in the accumulation value. So if 4% is the goal and it's a 1% annual fee for the income rider, you're going to get 3. But if you get 0, then yes, it's going to decrease that accumulation value. So the 0 is my hero is junk. It's garbage. It's the same thing when an index annuity person says it's a hybrid. No, a hybrid's a plant. A hybrid's a car, because I used to have one, and a hybrid can be a mattress. But there is no such thing as a hybrid annuity. Hybrid is a word to sell index annuities. 0 is my hero is a word to sell index annuities. Upfront bonus are 2 stupid words to sell index annuities. Do we like index annuities? Yeah, absolutely. We sell more than anyone on the planet, I bet you. If there's anyone selling more, then that's all they're selling. I mean, it's just part of the 2 questions. What do you want the money to contractually do? When do you want those contractual guarantees to start? In most cases, we're using index annuities as a cost-effective and efficient delivery system for income riders for future income guarantees. We're quoting deferred income annuities, QLACs, and income riders to see who's going to provide that. And we do use index annuities for accumulation CD type returns. Okay, but the 0 is my hero makes me sick to my stomach. And it's why the annuity industry has earned its bad reputation with that kind of crap. Because what you just did is you blew a hole in that. You said, well, wait a minute, Mr. Seminar dude, Bad Chicken Dinner Seminar, bad suit wearing dude. How about if it gets 0 and you get minus the rider fee? That's not your hero. There is no hero because it's less than 0. Exactly. That's exactly right. So just be careful out there. I mean, we are in silly season, what I call indexed annuity bonus season, like hunting season and fishing season. This is when all the grifters and sociopaths are going to try to get you to buy an annuity for the upfront bonus, or make it, or this one drives me crazy, illegally try to flip the annuity you're in to a bonus annuity and tell you that the bonus is going to make up for the surrender charges. By the way, that just happens to be illegal, and they could lose their license if they come at you with that. So just put that in the back of your head. All right, producer, any other questions? Here we go, Glenn. I said, you saved us, Glenn. If I purchase some MIGAs 345 with an insurance company, what kind of information, growth, etc., is made available online? Everything. I mean, you're going to have online access to your account. You're going to get an annual statement from the companies. And just remember, Glenn, there is no back tested hypothetical theoretical. If you buy a 3-year MAGA for 3%, I believe you can do those calculations. I mean, it's going to happen. There's not going to be any more. It's not going to be less. It's contractual for that specific percentage, but you're going to have online access to these companies. They do show those types of items, but unlike, say, indexed annuities where they show hypotheticals and theoreticals, I went fast through hypotheticals and theoreticals. MIGAs are contractually guaranteed annual yields for the specific duration that you choose. So in your 3, 4, and 5 scenario, you're going to know what that interest rate is going to be for that 3-year MIGA every year, what that interest rate is going to be every year for that 4-year MIGA, what that interest rate is going to be every year for that 5-year MIGA. You can run those numbers whether you take out the interest or not. If you don't do that, it's going to compound tax deferred. Any other questions? Chuck, you have a company on your 5-year MIGA fee that currently has a 3.5 rate, but the company is not rated. Why do they make your list? Just curious. Good question. Because I only sell contractual guarantees. We only look at the highest contractual guarantees, but that doesn't mean I'm going to allow you to buy it. Okay. And I'm not going to mention the company's name, but if the company is not rated, and I believe the one you're mentioning is not rated, then I'm not going to allow you to buy it. We do have them on a watch list. We are looking at their financials on a quarterly basis to see where they're at. But right now, that specific carrier that you're mentioning, we're not allowing people to buy it through us. You can buy it somewhere else if you want. But from a fiduciary standpoint, I have to look at the claims paying ability of the carriers. I've got to feel confident with that. I've got to sign off on that. I got to put my rear end on the line for that. And right now, we're not doing that. It was an item for discussion with the board, the people that's on the board of the Annuity Man when we look at these things. And there's some situations where we discuss as a group. We decided that, yes, our slogan is own an annuity for what it will do, not what it might do, which is the contractual guarantees. We are going to put the highest contractual guarantees on that board that we know of, but that doesn't mean that we're always going to recommend that carrier, because I look at not only their Comdex rankings, I look at their claims paying ability, their financials, how they're buying the bonds. I have a extensive background managing bonds with Morgan Stanley, and previous life, not a sweatsuit life. I was wearing suits at that point, ties. But I know when the son-in-law's buying bonds. I know when their durations are messy and they're not doing a good job. And I have a responsibility to tell you not to buy it. And we take this darn serious. I know you're saying, Stan, you don't take yourself too serious. No, I have fun with life, and calling yourself Stan the Annuity Man, you gotta have some humor in you. But I'm very serious about what we do. Now, from a fiduciary standpoint, we say, well, are you a fiduciary? Do you have a fiduciary plaque on your wall? First of all, I don't need a fiduciary plaque on my wall. Anybody in the financial advice business is a fiduciary if they have a soul. And fiduciary is putting the best interest of your clients ahead of yours, which means that in this situation you brought up, long answer to get to the point, but I think it's needed. I'm not going to put something in front of you that I do not think that company can back up the claims. At this point in time, my call, I don't feel comfortable with that company, but we want to show it to you. Primarily because if you see it on other competitive sites, I know you're saying, Stan, there's no competitors. You're right. But there's some people that are trying to mimic what we do. If they have it on there, I need you to call me on those things and say, Stan, what do you think? Because I can read a balance sheet. My background with Dean Witter, Payne Weber, UBS, and Morgan Stanley taught me a lot of things about how to do that and what to to look for, especially in the bond buying side of what they're doing. So next question.
That is it for questions.
That is it. Hey, listen, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to do this every month. We'll give you a heads up on the next month's topic. If you have an idea for that, shoot us that. Have a great weekend. I will see you next time.